So I've been writing some stuff and putting together some bigger kind of videos that I want to be doing, but those things, they take a lot of time and a lot of prepping, and I just wasn't able to get anything done before I needed to get this video up because I want to make sure I got at least one video a week because y'all gotta have content or you're not gonna keep coming back. It only makes sense. I wouldn't come back if there wasn't anything new. So I saw this on Facebook and I watched like a minute of it and decided, oh my gosh, I gotta do a response video to this. This thing it's ridiculous. So I haven't watched the whole thing. This is gonna be completely and totally off the cuff, and we're gonna go through it together. And yeah, you've seen response videos before, so let's just get right into it. This is crazy. This video was posted by a YouTube channel called The Root, and they have a show on there called Judge of Character. So let's judge their character, or something witty about judging character right here.
When someone is cruel or acts like a bully, you don't stoop to their level. No, our motto is when they go low, we go high.
First of all, hi.
Okay, so before this lady starts talking, I actually agree with this. Now, I think she's incorrect that the right are the only ones quick to go low, and I realize she didn't actually say that, but she's certainly implying it. But yeah, what she's saying is true. We should be civil to each other. We should be able to disagree with each other and still get along. Let's see how this host basically ruins all of that right now.
Miss you. Second of all, sorry, Michelle. Love you, mean it, but we going low today, sis.
All right, so here starts the problems. We're going low. We're not going to get along. Anyway.
Welcome to Judge of Characters, where we ask, civil for what? Black people have historically turned the other cheek so much. I'm dizzy. But y'all don't know what to do with yourselves when a black woman gives you a taste of your own medicine. Here's what Rep. Maxine Waters said that got everybody all up in their feelings.
And you push back on them, and you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere. We've got to get the children connected to their parents.
Okay, so if you're not familiar with what it is that Maxine Waters is talking about, she's talking about getting the immigrant children back with their illegal immigrant parents, and yeah, so she's saying that it's time to stop being civil, which is just half the problem in this country is we can't be civil with each other anymore.
Now folks want to start talking about civility? But when your president says something like this.
Maxine, she's a beauty. I mean, she practically was telling people the other day to assault. Can you imagine if I said the thing she said?
Sir, you have said worse.
She's about to go into some examples that are just absolutely ridiculous. They don't make any sense, but we'll get to that. Here we go.
Let me present Exhibit A.
I'd like to punch him in the face, I'll tell you.
All right. Notice Donald Trump said he'd like to punch whoever this guy is that he's talking about in the face. And I think I know what this incident is from. It's from a rally. You'll notice the date is from 2016, early in the year. So he's not president yet. But he says, I would like to punch that guy in the face. Notice he didn't say, hey, everybody standing around that guy, go punch that guy in the face. That did not come up. It did not happen. And trust me, Trump didn't then get down from his podium and go punch that guy in the face. He just said, I'd like to punch that guy in the face, which, let's be honest, we've all said something like that. Man, I'd like to punch that guy in the face. Or, man, I would hope that that guy, while he's cooking later tonight, slips and falls on his knife and dies. Okay, maybe I'm the only person who's ever thought that specifically, but, that I'd like to, not, hey, let's go do that. There's a pretty big difference.
And here's Exhibit B.
Where I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay? It's like incredible.
Okay, so this incident doesn't even have anything to do with him wanting to commit violence against somebody. He's saying, people love me so much that I could do something so awful, like kill somebody in public, and people would still love me. Now, I'm not going to make the argument that any one of these things that he's saying is professional or tactful, but he's not encouraging violence or incivility against other people. The first example, man, I'd like to do something horrible. But he didn't encourage anybody to actually go do it. Nor did he go do it himself after the speech. And hey, everybody loves me so much, I could commit a horrible act of violence in front of everybody and they would still love me. There's no encouraging anybody to do any violence whatsoever. It's an example. It just this is why we can't have like quality conversations with anybody anymore. There's just so much misrepresentation of what's being said.
There's also about an alphabet's worth of exhibits we do not have time for. There's a big difference between civil disobedience and harassment or threats.
You're right. There is a really big difference between civil disobedience and harassments or threats. For example, Martin Luther King Jr. encouraged people for civil disobedience. He went and had people sit in restaurants where black people were not welcome. Civil disobedience. They didn't start any fights that I know of. They didn't encourage violence. At the very least, Martin Luther King Jr. did not encourage violence. He encouraged people to just be present somewhere where they weren't wanted, and most of the time, if I remember correctly, it's just be silent, to just be present, to just be like, hey, I'm a human, I have value, I should be able to be here, and I'm going to be here. And if you want me not here, you're going to have to physically remove me. If anything, they were inviting violence on themselves, which I'm not, please don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying like, oh, by being there, they were just asking to get, punched in the face or what. And that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that the statement they were making was, we're not going to leave, and the only reason that we're going to leave is if you physically remove us. That's what I'm getting at here. This is very different from Maxine Waters telling her constituents, and not just her constituents, but everybody in the country, when you see somebody you disagree with, go stand over the top of them at a restaurant and yell and scream and whatever else it is you're going to do, and just basically make it so that they can't just live their life. It's insane. It's insane.
Why is it that when Maxine Waters urges people to non-violently confront the oppressors where they are, folks want to call her out for being uncivil as if she's taking the low road?
She is. And look, I'll admit I'm not terribly familiar with what it is she said exactly. So, yeah, it's probably true that she didn't encourage actual violence. She didn't encourage anybody to go punch anybody or to whatever it is that somebody may think that she did. But she definitely encouraged the poor behavior that's going on. There's a civil disobedience has a purpose. You can actually talk to someone who's being civilly disobedient. You can't talk to someone who's just standing outside your house yelling and screaming horrible things at you and playing the sound of a crying baby loud for everyone, not just the people that you're trying to annoy, but also those people's neighbors and the other people that live around them. You need to be able to have a conversation with people, and Maxine Waters is not encouraging conversation. She's encouraging nonsense like Antifa walking into someone's free speech rally with a bullhorn and just yelling and screaming. That's not going to get anyone anywhere. Actually, no, let me take that back. That is going to get someone somewhere. That's going to get Democrats losing more elections. Is that what you want? Because that's what's going to happen.
Black women are expected to take the high road, no matter how low someone seeks to come at us.
How low can you go? Can you go down low?
I wonder if those same people who consider Maxine Waters' comments hateful consider the death threats directed at her hateful as well.
Actually, yeah, I do. If people are threatening Maxine Waters' life, that's not okay. It's pretty dadgum disgusting. And I hate it. And I hate that it comes from people that, like, generally I agree with politically, because I think it makes me look bad. It makes me look worse than I make myself look by putting on this goofy mask and getting on YouTube. No, that is not going to help anybody. Threatening to kill somebody because you disagree with them is not going to help. It's only going to drive the people that you're trying to talk to further and further away. And I hate it. And it doesn't need to be happening. So yeah, we actually agree on that.
The chairman of the House Financial Services Committee, Rep. Jeb Hinterling, said that there was a time in America's history where you could be denied service at a restaurant based on the color of your skin. Now, apparently, it's the color of your voter registration card.
All right, so I got an opinion on this whole being able to be denied service thing that is not a super popular one, but I don't personally believe that you should have to enter into a transaction with anybody that you don't want to for any reason. Whether it's I'm a Republican and I don't want to serve Democrats, or I'm a Democrat and I don't want to serve Republicans, or I'm a Christian and I don't want to serve Muslims, or I'm a Muslim and I don't want to serve Christians. Like, I don't think there should be a rule that forces me to enter into a transaction I do not want to enter into, regardless of the reason that I do not want to enter into that transaction. I don't see how that protects my freedom to do with the stuff that I own what I want. So I actually don't like this whole thing, and let me dive a little further into this. The lady at the Red Hen who asked whatever her name was to leave her establishment because she works for Trump. I don't know exactly what went down, but if all that happened was the lady pulled the Trump advisor or employee or whoever aside and said, hey, you know, I disagree with your boss's policies and with your policies, and therefore I don't want to serve you. And that was the end of it. If that's all that happened, I think that was well within her right, and that it was the correct thing for that Trump administrator person to leave peacefully. If what happened was she went over to the table and started yelling and screaming and pitching a fit and throwing table salt all over it, no, that, I mean, like, sure, she has a right to do that, but she's not helping anything. And honestly, she's not helping anything by refusing to serve this lady. I think she should just serve this lady. But I get it, and I absolutely defend her right to do that. What happened to Sarah Huckabee Sanders? Gosh, her name is long and wordy. That was just ridiculous. I think, you know, and again, that wasn't even the restaurant owner. That was other people in the restaurant causing a ruckus. And that restaurant owner should have been like, hey, you guys are ruining dinner, not just for this person, but for everybody, every one of my other patrons. Don't do that. You need to stop this. This is ridiculous. So that I am less in favor with. But again, it's got more to do with the fact that it wasn't the restaurant owner, it was just other people. And I don't think other people have a right to walk onto private property and start yelling and screaming and just being douchey all around. That's just, you go be douchey on your own property.
He's either referring to Secretary of Homeland Security Kirstjen Nielsen being shamed at a Mexican restaurant after enforcing a zero-tolerance border policy.
Shame! Shame! Okay, see, that, shame, that's not okay. I mean, I suppose if the person who owns that property wants to allow you to do it, that's well within their right, and then that's well within your right. But it's not, I'm not suggesting any of this stuff should be illegal. What I'm suggesting is that it doesn't help anything, and that it's ridiculous, and all you're doing is pushing people further and further away from your political ideology instead of winning them over to your political ideology. You are not doing yourself any favors at all. You're not doing yourself any favors. Just stop.
Or White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders being asked to leave a Virginia restaurant without getting a meal. Folks are trying to compare the racist laws that kept black people from going anywhere, like a restaurant or sipping from a water fountain, to a minor inconvenience of having to find another place to eat that doesn't feel discriminated against by the very administration that these two represent.
But tacos!
She's got somewhat of a point here. Laws forbidding people from using water fountains and stuff like that another type of people, that is different from private citizens enforcing these things. So I'm going to agree with her here. I think she's still way downplaying the seriousness of what's happening here, but she has a point. There aren't laws keeping Republicans from eating at establishments owned by Democrats. So, yeah, it's not super fair to compare these two things.
Maxine Waters is doing her job.
Maxine Waters is doing her job. Have you seen the conditions of the district that she gets? This is over her constituents. It's a pigsty. That lady's not doing her job. I mean, unless her job is exploiting the people that vote for her, then yeah, she's doing a fantastic job of that. But no, this lady's not doing her job. This lady is mooching off the system. But I mean, I realize what you're not talking about that. You're talking about by encouraging people to be civilly disobedient, which also isn't her job. Her job is to vote on laws and to do what is best to protect the freedoms of her constituents, not encourage her constituents to go all over the country and be giant douche nodules to people. That is no one's job.
Challenging the Trump administration's discriminatory policies, but because the passionate words come out of the mouth of a black woman,
her race has nothing at all to do with this. If Nancy Pelosi had said it, we'd be just as upset. If what's her name that thinks she's part Indian? I don't know why her name is escaping me, but Elizabeth Warren. If she said it, we'd still be upset. If Hillary Clinton said it, we'd still be upset. The fact that she's black and a woman, I realize every single one of those examples is a woman. I need to come up with a man's name real quick. Who's a male? Obama. If Obama's, he's black. I need a white guy. Dadgummit. Trust me. If a white guy Democrat, heck, if a white guy Republican said this, I'd be pretty ticked off. So yeah, her race and her gender and the letter next to her name don't have a dadgum thing to do with this.
she's an easy target. And black women are the low ones on the totem pole.
How on earth are you the low ones on the totem pole? Women and minority races get preferential treatment when applying for college because of affirmative action. This is I could go on. I really don't want to get into this because I'm not like well versed and prepared for it, and someone's just gonna take this video and go, look at this racist guy wearing this goofy little mask. That's what's gonna happen here. So just moving on.
We are the disrespected, unprotected, and neglected.
Word to Malcolm X.
Yeah, because the government doesn't just give women, single mother women, especially minority women, a bunch of money just for having kids and for being minorities, whereas the men in that same situation, if a guy had a kid and needed help from the government, he wouldn't get anything. I mean, it's not okay, he'd probably get something, but you know what I'm getting at here. The women are favored around here, and honestly, I'm not even complaining. I think it should be that way. I think women need to be we need to do that. Now I'm going to get called a misogynist because I'm saying that women need men to come around and, oh my gosh. Am I ready for this YouTube thing? I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to get myself in trouble here.
But the Auntie Maxine I know has no plans of being intimidated. This woman has served the people for 42 years.
I mean, she's getting paid taxpayer dollar to do something. I wouldn't say it's serve her people, but whatever, lady. You do you.
The Root's own Terrell Starr said it best. Maxine's perseverance personifies the resilience of Black America. She is its moral pulse in times when white America refuses to have a heart.
Okay, this phrase right here, white America, Black America. This is why we have the problem that we have. No one's saying to themselves, like, just America. It's white America and Black America. And it's just so utterly ridiculous. You want to keep having fights? Keep splitting everybody up by race or by nationality or what. We're Americans, okay? There's no Black America and white America and Asian America and rich America and poor America. It's just we're Americans. We're all in this together. And this bullcrap right here is the reason that we have all these stupid fights.
And you can miss me with that both sides debate. Civility has existed on the side that's not saturated in white supremacy.
Yeah, you're right. The Republican because the KKK is a Democratic thing. And don't give me that stupid party switching thing. It's bull.
But there's always a breaking point. Maxine's rallying cry isn't calling for violence, it's calling for change.
Go annoy the crap out of people until they're so bothered that they have to leave. Okay, technically you're right. That's not violence, but don't sit here. It's not civil. Just because I'm not bashing somebody over the head with a baseball bat doesn't mean that I'm being civil. I don't think you understand what civility is.
Let's look at the tweets. Which party is responsible for making death threats to Maxine Waters?
I mean, people who are, on the right. Yeah. Is the Republican Party as a whole responsible for that? No. No more than the Democratic Party as a whole is responsible for the KKK. Just a few dinguses in the group. We're not, this groupthink thing just drives me insane. I hate it.
No matter how much we dislike or disagree with someone, we should not deny them the chance to have a meal. Among other things, I am able to buy a car, live where I want, work on Capitol Hill because of civil disobedience. Thank you, Maxine Waters. There's even some Democrats refusing to support Maxine.
Yeah, good for them.
Former Obama administration advisor David Axelrod said, couldn't disagree more with Maxine Waters. Disgusted with this admin's policies? Organize, donate, volunteer, vote. Rousting cabinet members from restaurants is an empty and ultimately counterproductive gesture that won't change a thing.
Looky there. I agree with something Democrats said. It does happen every now and then. No, I agree with him more often than I let on. But yeah, this guy's absolutely right. What they're doing isn't going to change anything. I mean, it is going to change something. It's going to make Republicans win more. So if that's your goal, keep it up.
I think I'm just going to let Auntie Maxine tell it.
I think every reasonable person has concluded that the President of the United States of America has advocated violence, he has been divisive, and he has been the one that has caused what we see happening today, where people are trying to push back on his policies.
Okay, there's a difference in pushing back on policies and being civilly disobedient and what she's advocating. Also, she said quite clearly that every reasonable person has determined that President Trump is, blah, 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 whatever it is she said. So everybody that disagrees with Maxine Waters is unreasonable. That's what she said. That's the kind of nonsense that is going to get her party and her political ideology kicked out of this country, which, I gotta be honest with you, I'm 100% in favor of, so knock yourself out, Maxine Waters. Salty Luchador just encouraged violence against Maxine Waters by telling her to knock herself out. It's a figure of speech.
We are far beyond manners when it comes to holding members of the Trump administration accountable for all their deception and spreading of hatred.
I'm actually totally in favor of the government being 100% transparent, and that way we can hold them accountable for any deception and misbehavior or whatever that last thing she said. By the way, the Obama administration, most non-transparent presidency in the history of the United States of America. It's been written about. It's demonstrably true. I'm not saying that Trump has made it any better. He's only been president for a year and a half at this point. We got to see, but I mean, the guy tweets every single thing that he does. How much more transparent do you want him to be?
Let's judge these characters. The majority, do with that label what you will, is guilty of demanding civility from people of color. But we are triggered AF because throughout history, we've been denied the very civility they think we should grant them.
Oh, yeah, that's what civil rights are.
Actually, we've been granting you this civility for a long time. At least as long as you've been alive, legally speaking. You're right. There are people out there that don't want to be civil to people that look different from them and they don't like it. That goes for everybody, not just white people. Asian people do it, black people do it, Native American people do it. Everybody does this to a point. And when I say that, I mean all types of people. I don't mean actually everybody. This is why these response videos off the cuff are so dangerous. Start saying things, and my gosh, I've been going for 25 minutes. This video is only 5.5 minutes long. How did people like Sargon do this? This is, oh.
And I sentence those who demand civility, who have nothing but rights and privilege, to hard times. And by that I mean hard times that people of color have had to face in this country. Discrimination, racism, unequal treatment everywhere you turn, and a demand to be civil in the midst of it all. How's that for civil disobedience?
Okay, so you're wishing on people that disagree with you the same awful things that happen to you. What a horrible way to live your life. Like, I can't even imagine what that must be like. Just think about that for a minute. Oh my gosh, somebody hit me in the head with a baseball bat. I hope somebody hits him in the head with a baseball bat. Like, and she didn't say I hope this happens, because I get it. It's the same thing that Trump did. Like, man, I want to punch that guy in the face. And yeah, he I don't know if he meant that or not, but she's like, I sentence you to this. Like, it's not just, man, I want you to know how I feel or whatever. It's actually, I wish this on you. That's no better at all than what happened to people who are actually oppressed, which, by the way, is not you. You have a fairly successful channel, at least I think so. You got the nice green screen and the fancy graphics going on in the background. I'm going to assume you don't actually know what oppression is like. I'm not saying that there aren't black people out there that don't know what oppression is like. I'm saying you don't have any idea what oppression is like. You're fine. And if you were oppressed as a young girl, you overcame that. And I'm going to assume that you didn't overcome that by whining about it. You overcame it by getting off your butt and doing something. You probably, I'm going to imagine not yelling and screaming at somebody in a restaurant. At least I hope so. I'm not saying it's not possible. That's how you got to where you are today, but I don't think it's very likely. I want everybody who disagrees with me to experience racism. Thanks. Appreciate that. I don't want you to experience racism. I think that's awful, because I think racism is bad. Something you apparently do not.
What's up? I'm PJ with The Root.
Hi, PJ. All right, anyway, so that's that. This is not something that I want to be normal. I definitely prefer doing the things where I write out a script and I, do my thing. But if this is something that you enjoyed, let me know. Give it a like. Subscribe to the channel. If you want to see more content, please head on over to my Patreon page, patreon.com/saltyluchadoric. I kind of take the route that some YouTubers do, where I don't really have tiers. If you want to give me $1 or some amount of money, you can do that. I'm not asking you to give me like $25 so you can have exclusive access to my Discord channel. Like, I'm just not really about that. I just want this to be a thing that if you want to participate and you want to help support the channel, then you can. That's awesome. If you want to support the channel and you want to get something out of it, I do have a t-shirt store, a merch store, really. You can get coffee mugs and stuff. There's only 2 things on it right now, but it is growing. So anyway, if you like this, again, let me know, and I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.